First off, let's talk about the flow of the money. Remember, you can always follow the money here in crypto land, and it is probably the biggest advantage that any investor has had in any market in history. And this time we see here that Bitcoin is leaving the exchange. Ethereum is leaving the exchange. Net $233 million less ETH, net $373 million less BTC, and $97 million more stablecoins have entered the exchange. The flow of money is speaking volumes here about the bullish next phase of this market. Coins are leaving the exchanges while new dry powder is entering the exchanges to buy up those volatile assets that are looking like they're going to explode with gains. We also have Willy Woo here explaining that we have another short-term technicals that are weak while on-chain investors in accumulation. That means that all the makings of a volatility squeeze breaking 50 likely fast track to 60. Now, if you remember, Willy Woo called the supply shock that sent us over 40K, and we said, hey, we're not really sure if this is going to play out, but Willy Woo's kind of the man with on-chain metrics analysis. Adding to that, we also have Will Clemente, who's been on this channel, good friend of the channel here, saying another uptick. I'd now say we have a bullish divergence paired with the volatility squeeze we entered into 4 days ago, looking for this to resolve in the next week or two. The last major bull div was in the low to mid 30Ks. This was when we saw that supply shock we were talking about. And he says, here comes the this is hopium on-chain snake oil comments. Remind me of this when we were bullish at 30K. And exactly what he's saying is that people can criticize, but they were very, very much so bang on the money last time. And I expect the same. And we have Bitcoin Jack here, Mr. Jack Sparrow, saying if Bitcoin breaks up here, that is the second/third time in the last 2 months when the chart screamed to correct deeper, down, but the invisible hand stepped in. This is a sign right now that in this market, in this crazy time of unlimited inflation, unlimited money printing, the macro for Bitcoin and crypto has never been stronger. When the charts are looking horrible, it seems like that's when the big buys from these huge investors step in. Now remember, those kinds of buys from those huge money bags, those are usually the types of people who have access to information we don't. So what Jack hints at here is very important. This has to do with the sixth sense of the market that you develop in crypto land after being here a while, which is I learned when these things happen, someone with a lot more money than me knows a lot more than I do. Pick your fights carefully, meaning if you're looking to short against these big money bags that seem to be stepping in when things look very bad, well, you're in for a bit of pain because the reality is the invisible hand here wants up. And that means to me that we probably have some really big money pushing this next wave of Bitcoin bullishness. We've talked about the institutions getting in. We've talked about the big money and the banks getting in. That kind of stuff is going to happen behind the scenes. And it's going to happen, by the way, by painting charts to look horrific. An inverse head and shoulders that's looking like it's going to send us down into Goblin Town. But then boom, we peak and we explode and spring upwards. These types of patterns that are easily recognizable are essentially fake outs. You need to understand that most of the traders in crypto now are ultra pro. These are really top tier traders in Bitcoin. And so by painting a sort of advanced looking pattern, by making the charts and the technicals seem as though they're going one way, that is another way that the whales extract coins from the weak hands and put them in their own pockets at a discount. Seems like this is happening over and over again, and we keep going higher. So don't let the institutions and don't let those dark, shadowy, super, banks or whatever, don't let the institutions steal your coins. Now, we also have Lightning Network reaching a huge capacity milestone here, both in USD and BTC terms. And we know that who likes Lightning Network most of all? Well, Mr. Jack Dorsey. Here we have an article saying Twitter appears to be adding the ability for people to use to tip in Bitcoin. This is extremely good and will actually make Bitcoin, in my opinion, for the first time functional. Nobody uses Bitcoin. As I was watching an interview with Raoul Pal the other day, actually on BitBoy's channel, and Raoul was like, ETH is money. You do everything with ETH. You buy NFTs with ETH. You use dApps with ETH. You do everything with Ethereum. That is the currency of the internet, is Ethereum. And Bitcoin is just, you just buy it and you sit on it. And everybody says not spending it is the utility. And that's a little bit of to me a little bit of a backflip. The reality here is that if Bitcoin is actually able to be used in a low cost and effective manner through Lightning or whichever way it's going to add value. So this could be a massive, massive green flag in the making here. Other green flags for Bitcoin are El Salvador is a few days away from making this legal tender. I don't really anticipate a massive impact on Bitcoin's price, but this is the big news that everyone was excited about, and it's finally taking effect. We have here Michael Van Pop saying the retest is now done at 46.4 and we're likely to consolidate and have a breakout above 51,000. Starts to look fine. And that's exactly what's going on as we're seeing these patterns that looked bad start to resolve to be extremely bullish. It's very, very exciting times to say the least. The story of the day, the story of the moment right now, in my opinion, is easily Ethereum. Ethereum is breaking up. It is a beautiful little sign of excitement and bullishness here. We can see this chart is just aggressively pushing towards its all-time high. Let me scoot it over here a little bit. And you can see here that the Ethereum chart just looks absolutely gorgeous. It wants to hit this all-time high, and it will most likely go into price discovery mode, what looks like and feels like it might happen before Bitcoin. Regardless, Ethereum is extremely, extremely bullish. I've been, spreading the ETH gospel as much as I can. What I do think is the important thing to keep in mind here is as ETH breaks up, we're looking at floor prices here on different NFT collections. And I wanted to sort of put this out here that while I think goes back to my blue chip argument, while I think that a lot of these blue chips will consolidate and kind of get a little wind sucked out of them, we're seeing some corrections here to the tune of 5%, 10%, 1%, whatever in ETH prices, right? Some are going actually up. However, I believe that a lot of the sort of mid-tier NFTs will get the wind sucked out of them by ETH pumping. And that has to do with like new mints and like lower tier projects. Those ones that were more speculative, those will get the wind sucked out of them. But the big projects, the high tier projects, the super blue chips, the art blocks, the crypto punks, the bored apes, if those dip really, really significantly, I think there's a big brain play to mop up the dips on the blue chips. But I simply, as I've explained so many times, don't know what's going to happen with mid-tier NFTs. I just don't think that they're going to survive. I think that they're good to speculate on and flip and trade. Like for example, Alex Becker put out a tweet this morning about an NFT project I DM'd him about. But that stuff to me is quite degen. You just don't know where it's going to go. You can kind of use your spider senses to say, I think this thing's going to pump. But beyond it pumping up a bit and then there being a little hype, it's hard to say what this goes to in the future. Now, obviously, I do believe that the projects with huge communities and huge progress that continue to build and grow, those will continue to grow in value over a long period of time. But for the most part, I'm looking at this as an opportunity to potentially arbitrage on ultra blue chips meaning just that top layer of NFTs. So I don't know what's going to happen, but if I were to predict right now, I'd say that those mid-tier NFTs might get crushed during this ETH movement. That seems to be the consensus among some of my top NFT friends. But I do believe that the real blue chips will be momentary and temporary dips. I believe that. We also have here a really amazing achievement here from Consensus, who explains that we have 10 million active wallets here on MetaMask. They created MetaMask, obviously Consensus here, and they're still proud. We should be, because this is an amazing statistic of 10 million wallets with non-zero balances. Amazing. We also have nearly $1 billion locked in ETH L2. Super, super good news as Arbitrum has just taken its first steps into reality, and the reviews are absolutely on fire here. We have here that Arbitrum, we know you've been waiting. We're proud to announce Arbitrum 1. Brief yourself below. We'll see you in L2. Now, without going too deep in that, everyone's just saying, all right, cool. So what are we aping now in Arbitrum? And people are, Crypto Messiah here was saying nothing. It takes 7 days to get off the network and has transaction limits. And of course, the response to that is from, where is it? Crypto Cobain. Arbitrum is super fast, easy to use, easy to get over. There's plenty of next level dog coin gambling already. Downside is we don't have a fast bridge back as far as I know. And Kobe says, why would we ever leave? I get it. Like, you would have the desire to just stay there if this is the perfect version and realization of ETH. Arbitrum looks really, really good right now. So this is super, super epic to see. And hopefully this will lead to a lot more being concentrated in the Ethereum ecosystem where everybody really wants to stay anyway. Regardless, what we see here is more reviews that Arbitrum is so fast, transactions are confirmed instantly. And then, of course, people were complaining, well, they're not actually confirmed instantly. So he's like, all right, well, it's not a real confirmation. Let's just call it accepted or semi-confirmed IDK. The point is that you're able to actually get to a point of not finality, but confirmation very fast on Arbitrum. And this user experience is going to steamroll and get people excited and keep people within the ETH ecosystem, or else they're all just going to go to Solana and Avalanche and other chains. Now, speaking of other chains, we have Andre Cronje saying he hasn't been this excited about projects since he started thinking about Yearn Finance. What he's building next for Keeper and FTM is going to be insane. Now, Andre is one of the big brains, one of the galaxy brains of DeFi, and I actually happen to have a close relationship with some of the Fantom team. I do believe in this project tremendously. He says, I truly believe in OLM, V3 incentives, and Arteon plus NFT bridges will change the game. You know, what we have here is a thread that goes a little deeper into this. There's a thread here by 0xKYDO, and he says there's an incentive program comparison. The TLDR here, which we're going to get to, is this is really, really bullish for Fantom. He predicts here that by mid-2022, the ecosystem projects that will see the most growth by diversity on Fantom. He actually lays out all of his logic here as to why he thinks this. He compares Cello and Avalanche and Fantom. By mid-2022, he's predicting that most of the growth by diversity will happen on Fantom. Short-term ecosystem projects on Avalanche will take a price dip. Maybe that's because there's been much pumpage, but short-term ecosystem projects on Cello will moon. So he believes that Cello, with their liquidity incentives, is going to drive a lot of activity, but he's really, really bullish here, and he makes a very convincing case for Fantom based on what they're going to do with incentive rewards, TVL, to attract TVL. It's a very interesting thread. I don't have enough time to go through it all, but I'll go ahead and link this here. Actually, you don't even need it. 0xKYDO on Twitter. Check out this thread. It's at the top of his Twitter. Finally, we also have Atari setting out to build some stuff on Fantom, yet another green flag for Fantom. So I keep hearing more and more good things about Fantom, and yes, it has mooned quite a bit lately, but I do believe that it's an ecosystem that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. We've been covering it since below 5 cents here, and it's really just done amazing work. Let's just see where FTM is right now. Yeah, it's up here at 91 cents, almost at all-time highs here, about 3% off its all-time high. Fantastic performance out of Fantom. And finally, just some motivation here. Where else can you go from a few $1,000s to angel investor in a year? This is the reality of crypto. I mean, I can't count how many people I know that have gone and completely transformed themselves financially and are now investing in and seeding new projects. It's a wild, wild world we live in, and most people who make their money in crypto put their money right back into crypto. It's really an amazing black hole of liquidity. People don't ever want to go back to that old system. And more importantly, this is what you need to understand. If you're not making mistakes, you're not taking enough risk. No one is perfect. Everyone makes mistakes. I make tons of mistakes. But the fact is that I keep pushing myself to stay in the game. I keep pushing myself to be better and better and not make the same mistakes. As long as you're learning from those mistakes, they're not mistakes, they're learnings, and you will continue to grow. But crypto is truly a place where you can lose it all and make it all back about 10 times over in the span of what would be a normal year or two for most people. So this is an amazing place to be. It's the future of the financial world and the internet. And in my opinion, this is a huge, huge sentiment that I want to impart upon you, which is that you're going to make mistakes. That's okay. It's only about how you get up and recover from those mistakes. It's not about the mistake itself. So as we enter into bull euphoria, there might be some danger on the horizon for NFTs as they've been extremely, extremely pumptastic over the last few months, while ETH and everything else has been really in a slump. But it seems as though the spotlight is shifting onto Ethereum, Bitcoin, and we're going to see the insane cycle of L1s, big caps, mid caps, and then low caps start to take place. Remember the hot ecosystems, those hot L1s, whether it be Fantom, whether it be Avalanche, whether it be Solana, Cardano, all of those ecosystems have critical sub-projects on them that are probably going to explode with gains. So that's how I'm playing things, trying to be 1 or 2 steps ahead. If we're looking at Ethereum season and Bitcoin season, obviously I'm always loaded up on those, but I'm looking for L1s. And then if those L1s go, I'm looking for the sub-projects below them, those ecosystem projects, because those probably haven't moved nearly as much. So understand how the liquidity moves from the bigger coins down to the smaller coins, and that when one leader moves first, what it means for the followers or for the associated projects. Understand understanding those relationships will help you get ahead and stay ahead in this next euphoric bull moment. But as I tweeted earlier today, this will lead to an 80% correction. Crypto is not immune from bear markets anymore. Despite everyone feeling like it might be, there will be massive collapses. So as we enter into this next cycle, set a profit-taking strategy. Have numbers. Hey, if ETH reaches this value, I'm going to sell this much. Even put those orders in on the exchange as limit orders. If you want to actually ensure that you stick to the plan, I highly encourage it. Regardless, what we see here is an amazing climate for crypto. I believe we're all going to make it here. But as you grow in your relationship to crypto and your understanding of your own strategies, you need to make plans and stick to them. My plan is essentially to get ahead of ecosystem projects and the trending L1s. And as well, I'm going to look to buy the dip on some AAA blue chip NFT projects. With that said, I hope you guys got some value out of this. If you did, smash that like button. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter at ElioTrades. The link is in the description. And remember, if you want the absolute best information in the space, helping you get ahead and stay ahead of the market, getting those storybook 100x, 1000x gains, then all you have to do is subscribe and put that bell notification on, and you'll be made aware whenever I put out new content. With that said, I thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon on the next episode.